I want to tell you a little bit about why I developed this program, or how I developed it. I developed it because for so many years as an art teacher, I heard the phrase, "I don't understand art. I don't understand art." And I thought people were telling me that so I shouldn't have high expectations for their performance. And that wasn't the case. They really meant it. They really believed that they were artistically illiterate. And that's not unusual in a country that values literacy as an entitlement for all of us. But for artistic literacy, the school systems don't perform. It was when I read a quote by Emile Zola that I realized there was a key or an answer to this that led to this program. And the statement, the quote he made was, "Painters do not obsess about subject matter. The masses obsess about subject matter. Painters only use subject matter as a pretext to paint." And that was the key for this program. I decided to develop a program to show people how to read two-dimensional art from the painter's point of view. The attributes of art, that's what it's about. We are the heirs of the cave dwellers who invented the visual language 30,000 years ago. It's our genetic inheritance that we understand intuitively some of the things that are required to enjoy looking at paintings. And so what do artists look at, and what will we be looking at during this program? Expression. You look at a painting, is it moody? Is it gay? Is it sad? Is it grieving? Is it funny? Composition. Does it hold together? Painters talk to each other and to the world and say, it doesn't work. What they're talking about is that the composition's not holding together. The composition includes proportion, perspective, unity, and balance. That's composition. And of course, color, wonderful, wonderful color. Although this morning, we're going to mostly look at black and white, just so we won't be distracted. We want to concentrate on how painters look at drawings and what they look for. What does the composition portray? And then there's light. Right now you're looking at me, I'm looking at you, and I see that light is lighting up your side of the face, and this side of your face is more in shadow. Space is what makes a two-dimensional flat surface look three-dimensional. Motion, the act of moving, cars moving, people moving, and the materials. I'm going to go to the next slide. This is a scribbling experiential to point out to you your natural ability to react to the expression of paintings. On your pad, on a clear page, write the numbers 1 through 5, but leave spaces just as there are spaces on this slide. You will write rage, anger, 1, leave a space for some scribbling, then write 2, love, affection, etc. Starting with number 1, anger or rage. Try to remember, before you try to express it with scribbling, you can use your instrument in long lines, short lines, round lines, dots, anything that you feel. But before you try to express the feeling of rage or anger, try to remember the last time you were angry. Capturing that memory helps you do a more authentic job. Okay, I'm going to give you like 10 seconds to express anger. And we're going to do that with all the other emotions. Just before you try to express love or affection with just lines, no hearts. Think of an animal you love. Think of a person you love. Think of a place you love. And just let your hand lead the way. Let your hand dance with the pencil. Heads up so I know that you... Contentment, peacefulness. First capture the emotion and then express it visually. And the same with number 5. Okay, let's go back to number 1. How many people drew, scribbled, dark, heavy lines? We usually have a hard amount. Okay. That's like almost everybody. How many for love and affection did what round lines? How many did not? Swirling lines? It's 100%. Isn't it remarkable? Depression and sadness. How many drew lines going downward? So you can walk over to a painting and you can interpret the mood or expression of a painting and drawing because you naturally can do it. It's a language you understand. And that's what I understood when students kept repeatedly saying to me, I don't understand art. I kept thinking, too bad, you really do, you don't know it. Contentment and peacefulness. Horizontal? Anybody do something else? Circle. Circle? Oh, going out, yes, close enough. And the last one, happiness, fun, and joy. I think it's quite obvious what I'm trying to say here is, hang in. You really know a lot more than you think you do, and you're going to know a lot more as we go along. Okay, so now we're going to start looking at black and white paintings, drawings. And this is from Pablo Picasso. And you can see it's part of his sketchbook. You can see the spiral trim on the page. And what's the expression of this drawing? It's a preparation for one of his paintings. I'm not going to tell you the title because subject matter is something I would like you to disregard. I want you from here on in to look at the attributes of paintings, of art, as painters look at art. That's the whole key to walking into a gallery or a museum, is you walk over and you don't have to look at the title to appreciate the experience of looking at an artist's work. You're going to look for, one of the first steps, is expression. What is the expression on this drawing? Is she happy? No, she's not happy. She's in pain. This was a sketch that Picasso made in preparation for his painting, Rape of the Sabine Women. Very heavy, dark lines. And even on this sketch pad, he draws your eye around the composition by darkening this area. I assure you, as a painter, this section was added later. The hair gave him the key, and then he followed through by making this, so he draws your eye around. Most painters know how to draw the viewer's eye through a composition, and when a composition doesn't work, it's because a painter will stand looking at it and say, what can I do to make it work? And Picasso used this dark line around that figure. This is Katja Kalowitz. Notice, she takes this line of the shoulder. She had it here, the arm extend here. She smeared it a little bit, left it, but made the shoulder, the arm fall straight down. If you take your hand and try to imagine the shoulder coming out here, covering this hand, you will see that just that arc of the line makes a big difference in the expression of depression. Then this hand is reaching out to another hand. Mystery. What does that mean? You know, I don't care as a painter what it means. I'm more interested in the way Katja Kalowitz divides the negative space. Negative space on a visual art piece is the space left over from the subject matter. The subject matter is this woman. Her head is tilting downward. Her arms are going straight down. She's not happy. And she's extending this hand, but the piece works very well because of this other hand, making the negative space rich. The fact that she didn't try to erase or tear out the piece and start over again because she didn't like where she put the arm the first place. She left the ghost of her first attempt, in my view, makes the negative space richer, makes the piece richer. And what she had here, the same thing. She either had the dress coming out or a leg moving upward. Whatever she did, she changed her mind. The person who bought this at Christie's a couple of years ago and paid $62,500 for the drawing is very delighted that she never threw it out and started another piece, that all the riches of her attempt makes it a piece that we can relate to. You know, being human and not perfect, of taking risks, of changing our minds, and the name of the piece, Taking the Hand of Death. There's nothing wrong with knowing the artist's intent, but what I'm trying to get across is you can enjoy two-dimensional art without knowing the artist's intent. And here's another example by Henri Matisse, where we see his changes. This arm was originally here. These knees were here. Originally, he had a negative shape that was wider. So he moved her body and made this more like a V,